Okay. You guys let me know when you can see and hear me. We are in. KJ says afternoon. All good, all good. Awesome. Glad to see everybody. Hope everyone's having a good start to their Friday, or depending on where you are, maybe you're wrapping your Friday up. Either way, happy that you're here. All right, we'll let a few more people get situated. You liking the new couch for yourself, babe?
Oh, you're talking to me?
Yeah.
Sorry, I had no idea. I love it. I'm just getting situated, and I feel like I'm gonna be louder if I ever move.
Louder?
Yeah. Like I probably can't be as quiet.
Ah, okay.
Like if I want to get something to drink, I have to reach kind of far to get it. And yeah, I know. Tiniest violins are playing all over the world.
Yeah.
But, you know, so if there's a little background noise.
There's a little background noise.
It's fine.
Obviously things look a little different today, and they're going to continue to kind of look different for the next couple of, probably next couple of weeks.
Oh, come on, months.
Well, hopefully this room, well, yeah, months with the lead time of when stuff arrives and stuff like that. So maybe months, but yeah, the background of A camera and obviously B camera setups and stuff, they're going to look a little different. They're going to look a little different starting probably next week. So
yeah, we wanted to do a little bit of, we just wanted to get something different, have a change in our surroundings, something a little brighter and.
Well, that's a great question here from, or segue then. Samuel wants, excited to see what we've done on the new build. Did we learn anything along the way? Did we learn anything? Well, we're still learning. I'm learning the ins and outs of drywall. I'm getting better at it though. I really am. The first time I ever attempted something drywall was in this house was when we moved in and we had that bump out and stuff, and we had kind of hired somebody and then fired them, and then another team came in and fixed it up, and then they textured it to match the house, and then you wanted it smooth, and so that was my first time ever skim coating stuff. And now we're skim coating the whole house, room by room, because if you follow on Instagram or look at the community page, we obviously, what was it, about 2 weeks ago, babe? We had a full team in here on the roof in every room, pulling electrical, low voltage, the works, network, coax, everything. Because this house, believe it or not, had none of that. None of that.
Zero wiring.
Zero wiring.
Not even an old school telephone jack.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. So for 3.5, 4 years, we've been living off like hotspots and like Wi-Fi extenders, which obviously if you have a business that exists on the internet, it's not the best way to go. So finally just said, enough's enough. We gotta invest in not only our sanity and ease of use, but the future, and this is a business. And so we tore this house up. I think there were over 50 different holes drilled throughout the home, and I mean, no room was spared. All of the holes have been patched, but they're not made beautiful yet. So
You've done a really good job. He's become a pretty good drywaller or mudder or whatever, skim coater person. Yeah. Because we had a quote to have that work done, and just for the room we're sitting in right now,
yeah,
they wanted $5,000.
Yeah, it was basically going to come down to about $5,000 a room.
And that is only three. There's only three walls in the room we're sitting in right now. So it seemed kind of expensive, and we have so many other things going on
Well, in the wire,
simultaneously. So
yeah, and the wiring gig was not inexpensive. And so we whittled it down as much as we could, but there's just hard costs, and there's time, and there's labor, and we wired a lot of things for the future as well. So there's even we have wiring in this house now for things that we don't even have yet, because I only wanted to tear into this thing once. So that would be one of the biggest things that I've learned along the way is for 4 years we've been band-aiding solutions every chance we can, and I've reached that point where I'm like, I know it's a lot of money, but let's just do it, because I don't want to do it again. I just don't want to do it again.
we did get, when we moved in, we did get internet service dropped in, but the network server thing was put in a bedroom,
Yeah.
which is,
That's
it's
fine.
a significant distance from where we are right now.
Yeah.
And for major important testing, Andrew would connect an Ethernet wire or cable
Yeah.
to that port in that room, and then hundreds of feet of cable into our living and testing room
Yeah.
in order to be able to really function. Or if we were live streaming, he would do that as well, or if
Yeah.
we needed to upload something,
You had a 150-foot Ethernet cable running down our hallway to the back of the house.
Yeah.
And then it's like, don't trip. Please don't trip anyone.
Anyway, it's been great since we have Ethernet ports everywhere.
Yeah.
Our Wi-Fi, we're finally getting what we're paying for, because we do have gigabit
internet.
and
Yeah.
we're finally getting it, So it's been pretty cool.
Yeah.
Someone asked how you are at wallpaper. Jean Howard asked how you are at wallpaper.
Wallpaper? I've only put up wallpaper one time in my entire life, and I put it up in a bathroom. And it was the peel and stick kind. It wasn't the like roll the glue on and like old school wallpaper. I did okay. I had to reapply the second sheet like 2 or 3 times because the seams had to create a design. Wasn't my idea, long story. And I couldn't get the lining it all up just perfectly, was kind of a pain, but I got there eventually. That's all my experience with wallpaper, to be honest. Behind me, this wall behind me is not yet skim coated or even remotely touched. So after the live stream today, I'm actually skim coating this wall, which you can't see. And then behind me, we haven't made up our mind yet if that's going to get skim coated or if that's going to be walnut, that wall behind us. So we have to make that decision here probably in the next couple of days.
Yeah, I had an idea to put up, to go and get some birch or some sort of plywood, and then stain it to give it a little bit more of a mid-century feel. Mm-hmm. So that's something we're still thinking about, but the room is definitely brighter.
Yeah.
Since we took down the fabric wall panels, the light has changed quite a bit, and it just feels brighter and happier. Mm-hmm. And I'm one of those people that my mood is affected by the light and seasons and things like that. I don't know if anybody else has that, but this has really helped kind of lift my spirits.
Oh, yeah.
The room has much reverb. Okay.
The room has much reverb?
Yeah, some Hawkins made that comment.
Then that has to be the fact that for the first time, our mics are picking each other up. So everything is different now with how we're filming this. And normally, when we would do live streams, she would not be somewhat in the flight path of my mic. So that's something we're going to have to address. I hope that you guys can bear with me, but that's what you're hearing. So the room has much reverb. Is everybody else okay? Sounds fine to me. Clem, thank you. Yeah, unfortunately, you never know what the sound is going to be with a two mic setup until you get them placed. And while we use shotgun mics, it is possible, because Kristi is actually to the side and slightly behind me, that my mic picks up her mic and she's talking in my general direction. So we'll get it worked.
Yeah, this is a brand new setup for Andrew.
Yep, never done this before.
So it's possible that.
No, it's the two mics. That's what it is. So, all right. Well, I have a question here that came in even before we started. So Andrew Wright's going to kick us off. I can't move my speakers out more than 6 to 9 inches from the wall. Any speaker recommendations for being so close to room boundaries? Prefer bookshelf or small footprint towers. Budget 5 to 6K. Other tips. I know what I would do in a close wall situation. You're going to want something that maybe is ported out the front or out the bottom. You're going to want likely a cabinet that's pretty darn inert, or that deals with, vibrations and things like that. Boundaries, pretty good. Q Acoustic Concept 50s, while they are rear ported, they seem to do very well. Close to a wall. One of my favorite close to boundary speaker line that would fall within your budget and has bookshelf models available would be the Sonus Faber Lumina series. They do really well in small spaces. They do really well in tight quarters. They're front ported, or I guess front ported, kind of down, and then the port is flared towards the front. When we had them, we still have Lumina 2 bookshelf speakers, which at $1,200 a pair are still phenomenal bookshelf speakers. But when we had them, we had the whole line. I was pretty surprised by how great they were in close proximity to boundaries. They did very well. The new Martin Logan Foundation line also was designed somewhat with boundaries in mind. It can perform pretty good near boundaries. The SVS Nanos bookshelf speaker do very well, actually pretty close to boundaries, despite having a rear-facing port. But I think because the port is somewhat angled upwards is how they manage to kind of keep things from getting too boomy or boxy sounding. But those would be some recommendations. The other option would be to go with something that is more active or powered, that maybe has some room boundary DSP built into it. My go-to favorite, active speaker brand at the moment is obviously Bang & Olufsen, but that's going to be approaching, breaking the budget there. But it is something to consider. Powered speakers, they tend to be enclosed. Obviously, you don't need any more electronics with them for the most part, especially if you go with a smart one. Powered speakers, and we have a 5 to 6 range. The KEF LS60 towers fare quite well and have enough control in the app that you could tune them up pretty good in a variety of environments. So that would be all of my suggestions. Let's see here. Clem writes, what's the biggest mistake, mess up, pain in the butt you made that you curse the loudest, most, rant? I always do something backwards at some point. What is the biggest mistake, mess up, pain in the ass that you made that you curse the loudest, most, rant? Okay. I'm assuming you mean with what we're doing so far with the Reno and the redesign. I I thought I had everything figured out for the wiring of the new speaker system that we have in here. And about 2 days, it's not going to be a big thing to change or fix. It's actually going to be a very easy fix. But about 2 days after we got everything wired up, I realized that's not how I wanted to do it. So we have to make a wall plate to allow for these connections to be made more easily, but that the wire itself is not exposed, because I realized in all of my planning and thinking and stuff like that, like, oh yeah, these speakers aren't going to be where they are forever. And so I need to be able to have other things in their place, but not have wires hanging out. So that was a bit of a womp womp. Gosh, other biggest mistakes, mess ups, or pains? Is there anything you wish you had done different?
Well, we've been through quite a few couches, I'll say that much.
Oh, okay. I'll give you the couches, yeah.
So I would wish we would have found our perfect sofa a little bit sooner and saved a lot of money. Mm-hmm. You know, I think maybe the biggest F up or possible, pain, mistake could have been where we ended up moving to.
You've been
Sorry.
You've been
not
on that for
sorry.
the last couple of days.
I love our house, and I love like geographically, like from a topology standpoint, the nature surrounding where we live, I love it. But if I could pick up our house and move it somewhere else, I would. So.
Yeah.
So that's probably the biggest one.
It's a pretty big one.
It's a pretty big one. It's a pretty big one. Listen, when we bought here, when we moved here, we were living, when we started looking for a new place to live, we were living in Austin, and I had lived there pretty much all my life. Like I'm born and raised in Texas, and leaving Texas was like was always a lifelong goal for me. For various reasons, it just didn't happen until much later in life. And thankfully, I met this wonderful man sitting over here next to me, who helped facilitate getting me out of there. And, it was during the pandemic that we were looking, and it was like anyone who probably tried to find a house around that time. It was competitive, and we were outbid a ton. Like every single time we tried to put an offer in, I mean, we were just you could, unless you were able to spend a good $20,000 and up over the asking price.
And you were cash, no contingencies, close in 7 days. I mean, we had great credit. We had a very strong loan. We were able to we were able to offer over ask, but we couldn't give up things like inspections and contingencies and the normal things that go with buying a house. We couldn't wave goodbye to that because the bank and the loan and everything demanded it. And so people selling homes were just like, yeah, I'll take the money and run. So
so it was a very long, probably like a year-long effort of looking at homes, and you spend a lot of money to like fly out somewhere, and then just the whole process of finding something, falling in love with something, putting in an offer, and then getting your sort of feelings just crushed
you're
to the
heartbroken.
bone.
Yeah.
When you lose out, And so when we ended up buying where we are now, I admit we didn't investigate probably as much as we should have. Like if I had it to do over again, I think I would have rented somewhere, and then just to make sure, like, oh, this is how I want to live, this is where I want to live, and so on.
Yeah.
But, live and learn.
You live and learn. I mean, we do have a great house. I love it to death. Yeah, the surrounding area doesn't offer a whole lot in terms of, distractions or entertainment and stuff like that. So you end up becoming very either homebody, or you better like to just go for walks, because I'm not a big golfer, so that's out. Yeah, it's a little remote, and everything is kind of a drive. So that does kind of suck a little bit sometimes, especially when you're just looking for like a quick fix to like I want to get out, I want to go shopping, and it's like, you gotta go, 45
Several
minutes.
hours.
Several hours.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's great. And, I'm glad we did it. I don't know how the rental thing would have worked, to be honest with you, because when you work in this type of field and in this chosen career path for yourself, like you only have so much time that you can afford to be away before it really starts impacting, your bottom line, in which case, it's, if I want to take 2 weeks off to go survey a new location to see if maybe that's a place I want to uproot for the next 10 to 20, 30 years, no one's paying me my salary while that's happening. And so you can only afford to be away for so long. Anyway, that was a good one, Clem. I'm seeing here oil cooled says it's blocking a single super chat, trying to break it into. Do we have his question?
I don't know if we have their question.
Mm-hmm.
I was chatting back and forth with Oil,
Mm-hmm.
and what I think a lot of people don't realize is the way YouTube super chats work is you're limited to your character count based on how much you are putting in to spend on your super chat.
Mm-hmm.
So the more money you input into the donation box or whatever, the longer your super chat can be. I know it's frustrating and annoying, and if we could change it, we would, but this is something YouTube controls, much like the ads that may be running through the live stream. I've already personally seen one. Again, I'm sorry. We don't have control over that. I highly recommend YouTube Premium.
Mm-hmm.
I don't personally have it on my YouTube account, just so that I can kind of see what the average user might experience. But that's what's going on. Someone else did a super chat, and they think that they're blocked too, and I still believe that it's a matter of you simply just put in whatever dollar amount you put in is not giving you the amount of characters that you want or need to type everything you have to say.
Well, yeah, I'm seeing Oil Cooled and Roger are having issues with their super chat, so I'm popping over here. Did Roger follow up with? Roger says, I think I messed up my super chat. Roger, if you're still around.
Well, I'm trying to go back to see if Oil canned.
Oil Cooled came back right here.
Okay. Oil Cooled. Not
Oil
canned.
Oil Cooled writes, building a home gym, what towers do you recommend for cranking music? In a gym environment where it's possible it's going to, again, let me back this up. I don't know what your aesthetic is. I don't know if this is a garage gym, indoor gym, if you're going for the techno gym look where it's very, minimalist, kind of Norwegian inspired, Italian inspired, or if you want something that's a little harder edge with equipment racks and you're going to bang plates and, drop weights and stuff like that, more CrossFit vibe. So not knowing that, my my gut says that for a gym where it's possible things could get bumped into, run into, blah, 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 if you don't do on-wall or in-wall installed speakers that keep things up and out of the way, I would go with, especially since you said for cranking music, I would go with powered speakers. I would go down to Guitar Center and get something like JBL small venue kind of powered concert speakers. They're going to be roadie, styled, if you will, but you're going to get a lot of power, a lot of output, a lot of speaker for a really decent sum of money. Like, you can pick up a pair of those and they'll fill a very large space with sound pressure for, $800, $900, and they're battle tested, they're road tested. So that would be something to think about. And then you would just connect it to like a WIM streamer. I see that you followed up here, broad dispersion of moving around, and most importantly, lowest likelihood of listener fatigue. Looks don't matter. Again, the nice thing about some of these powered professional speakers, like the JBLs, is they have the EQ curves built into them, so you can just like flip a switch on the back that'll taper off the treble, boost the bass, do all of that stuff. And then again, if you connect it all to like a WIM streamer or whatnot for your signal, you can do further EQ inside that. So again, if looks don't matter, you're going to be moving around, you want a lot of coverage, I think that might be the way to go. And there are some versions that are on wall that you can also find at these places, or you can find on a place like Sweetwater. They do a lot of commercial audio stuff. The other thing you could do is you go pick up like 4 Sonos Era 300s, you know what I mean? And mount them in the corners of your room, of your gym, up out of the way, and just use your phone and you're good to go, and you can do room correction and all of that, and that'll be pretty omnidirectional. I think you'd be out the door for less than $1,500, and you would have sound everywhere with built-in streaming basically, and you could, work that. That would be another great way to go. You could do Sonos, what's the big green one we have? Is that the Move 2? That green one that's battery powered, Kristi?
What?
The bigger Sonos all-weather one, is that the Move 2, the green one? Kind of has a built-in handle.
Yeah, Move 2 is the larger one.
Yeah, you could do something like that. Get 2 of those. You could wall mount a Bang & Olufsen A9. That will fill a room. Now that is the costliest option that I have presented, but it'll work in a gym. It'll work in a gym. So that's another option. And it's a very kind of broad omnidirectional sound. Yeah, that's kind of the stuff off the top of my head. Hope that helps you, Oiled, and I appreciate your patience and sticking with it, and we got your question answered. David, hold on, let me just refresh my window here. Excuse me. David writes, recommendations for good value 40 to 45 inch TV that can play old DVD formats like 4:3, fill, full, justified, zoom. Not super expensive, as I don't care about vid quality. Can't tell from online sources if they support these formats. To be honest with you, you run into a bit of a conundrum on this one, because you want a TV that has the legacy inputs, which my bet, honestly, like eBay. I hate to say it, but eBay. you kind of want either a first or second gen, like 1080p flat screen, whether it's plasma or LCD or LED, or maybe you want to be old school and vintage like this and pick up like a Sony Wega or from like the early 2000s. It's going to be a big TV though, like depth wise. It's, you know, you'll be at 45 inches. So I'm not sure, but it will do all of the old formats and you won't have to worry about converters and stuff like that. But boy, that's going to be a cumbersome ask. But if you go with something like yeah, because I cannot even recall the last modern TV that's like available right now that has legacy inputs like that. In which case you're going to need to go on Amazon and find like an HDMI to composite video converter or composite video to digital video converter if you're going the other way. That's tricky. As far as like brands and stuff, like I can't even begin to tell you exactly, because to do that sort of stuff, you're going older. If you can score Salvation Army or Goodwill, you'll find 45 inch CRT based or even some LCD TVs that have, you know, the ability to do these older DVDs and older formats justice, and you're only going to be out like $50. So that's probably where I would start, especially since we're not sweating absolute like ISF THX video quality here. So that would be my recommendation, David. Matthew, looking to upgrade my JBL Studio 570 that are currently connected to a WIM Ultra and a WIM Vibe Link. Currently looking between ELAC Debut 3.0, DF63, Martin Logan F2, and Triangle Bro 9s. Bear with me, because Martin Logan F2, I mean, I guess my question is, Matthew, I'm not sighing because I'm frustrated with you. I guess my question is like, what do you not like about your JBL Studio 570s? Like, what is causing you to want to make this switch? Is it just you're ready? You just want to try something new? You just got that kind of itch where I need to shake it up? Are they malfunctioning? Did you buy them kind of by mistake? You're past your return period and you're looking for a particular type of sound. Kristi, if you see Matthew...
I've been looking, nothing so far.
Okay, Matthew, if you can give me a little bit more insight, because you're kind of referencing a lot of different speakers that go in a lot of different directions. If you want like what I think is going to be a kind of really good jack of all trades, not too bright, not too dark, plays well with everything, ELAC Debut. If you want something that's fun and punchy, Martin Logan. But Martin Logan might be a horizontal move compared to your JBL. It might seem like kind of more of the same if that's something you're trying to get away from. Triangle, I can't comment on that because I don't have any firsthand experience with the Bro 9s. I don't think. Were we sent the Bro 9s? I don't remember which Triangle we had. So that's kind of where I'm at with that one. If you can give me a little bit more information, you don't have to super chat again, but if you can clarify, I hope to be able to help you better. But that would be my answer. That would be my advice. Dan, Focal On-Wall 301 or 302 for rock music and movies. Well, Dan, I got to look that one up. Focal, let's see. Focal On-Wall 301. Here we go. Okay, or 302. Focal 302. I'm guessing the 302 just has more drivers. 50 to 28, 53 to 28. You know, honestly, it's going to be a little bit of, I don't know. I don't have firsthand experience with these speakers. I have not demoed them personally. In fact, I've never even seen these speakers in person. Based on what I'm seeing here, you're going to get a little bit more bass out of the 302s, but maybe not that much more bass, to be honest. If you want bass, both of these speakers need a sub. So get whatever one works for you and your budget and your space. The 302 does look a bit larger. So if you're trying to minimize your visual footprint, get the 301 and a good sub. Because honestly, 53 to 50 hertz, it's not that big of a difference, to be honest, especially for the added. Wow. Are you serious?
What?
It's a $700 price difference for essentially the same speaker to eke out. Yeah. I'm going to say that the budget guy in me, or the financially conscientious guy of me, is going to say they both need a sub anyway. So do the 301 and get a sub. Thanks for bringing a speaker to my attention. I had no idea these existed. Upside down. Any power amp recommendation for different budgets? Marantz MM7055 with Denon 4800H AVR. Current apartment 7.1.2. Eye towards dedicated home theater in a few years. Any power amp? What? Okay, hold on, guys. Hold on. It's going to be one of those days. I got it. Marantz MM7055. I try and be an encyclopedia, but I'm not. Okay, so that's a 5-channel power amplifier. Denon X4800H. What do we got over here? Okay, so your Denon is the AVR, and you currently have a Marantz 7055, which is going to run you 140 times 2 5-channel amplifier. I mean, if you need more than the Marantz is dishing out, especially since it retails for $1,500, I would go Emotiva XPA line. You'll get more power and more channels for this amount of money, for half this much, or a third less. So that's what I would do. That's where I would start. If you want to go even more upmarket than that, I mean, Emotiva really makes a solid just amplifier. I don't know what Parasound's up to lately. I know, they're still doing stuff. Parasound might be worth a look if you want that Class A, B, but a little bit higher budget, a little bit higher build, look, and quality compared to the all-black Emotiva. Yeah. Those are kind of my power amp recommendations kind of across the board, unless you want to go crazy, and get into some more esoteric boutique stuff. But I would start with Emotiva. I really would. In terms of power amplifiers, they're probably the best value per watt that exists. And you're going to want the XPA line if you're looking to go above the 7055. Chris Veltman writes, date night. Where are we going, Chris? I appreciate it so much. That is very, very generous. We had our 6-year wedding anniversary on Wednesday.
Yes.
It was Wednesday. And the restaurant, what?
Oh, I'm just thinking back to what I said about what
Nothing.
I forget who it was. Someone asked if did we make any mistakes, and I brought up the whole mic moving here thing.
Yeah.
And you cannot celebrate anything in this town. You just can't. We've learned, but we always oh, well, maybe this time will be different. It's not.
It's not.
It's not. You're setting yourself up for disappointment.
Yeah. We have a restaurant that we really like, and we go there somewhat frequently. It's not like hoity-toity or anything. There's nothing hoity-toity about this neighborhood. But anyway, so we just decided 6 years we wanted to go there. And it's never been a problem. But I don't
It's
know
the
what...
one place that's been reliable.
Reliable, rock solid. And I don't know what possessed me, but we were going to just go there because that's what we do. We don't get reservations. We just go. And I just thought I don't know why. I went on Open Table or whatever, and I checked. And the place is temporarily closed. And I've never known them to close. And we don't know when they're going to reopen. So we ended up going to a new place that just opened up, and they had been open for like 2 whole minutes. They were obviously still working the kinks out. The food was fine. It was fine. We will go back to this place and give them another shot. But it's just that other, you're just checking the box. Just checking the box of just one more thing where you're like, why does this town not have its act together? But thank you, Chris. I really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, you're such a sweetheart.
Roger R., I see that there's a comment here. I can't click on this. Do you see what's nested in Roger R's super chat?
That's me.
Oh, that's you?
Roger is having issues placing their super chat. I've asked Roger to tag me in their question. Mm-hmm. I asked them to also respond in their, chat box.
Okay.
And they have not done so yet. So
Okay.
unfortunately, Roger,
You don't have to super chat anymore. Just tell us what your question is, and we'll find it.
and at me
And at Kristi. Yeah.
so I can see it.
We're going to move on to honor roll student on the search for speakers with a budget of $2K. The main wants from speakers: bass good enough not to need a sub, neutral, warm, but doesn't sacrifice detail, 27 by 13 rooms, and I like modern hip hop, R&B, and pop genres. Bass good enough not to need a sub, neutral to warm, but doesn't sacrifice detail. You might be a candidate. Hold on. You might be a candidate for... it's going to be stretching your budget. It's going to be stretching your budget a little bit. But you may want to look at the KEF Q11 Meta. Is it going to have like subwoofer, foundation rattling bass? No. And I don't want you to, I don't want you to have the wrong impression. There aren't going to be many speakers that plunge those depths at those prices. But the bass is solid and it's appreciable. It's tactile. It'll be hefty enough that with some placement tweaks and whatnot, you might feel like you don't need one. But I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, no sub required. Because you could be like, oh, no, I want way more bass than that. In which case, at $2,000, there's, especially knowing that you want like a neutral, but still has a good amount of detail. Because I could sit here and say, well, you go Klipsch 8000F Mark IIs, which is going to be just a fun, thumpy, dynamic speaker, but it ain't neutral. You know what I mean? It's not a warm speaker. It's a V-shaped curve. It's going to be detailed and punchy. And the bass is going to be big and bold. But it'll be less than 2K. So if you want big, bold, fun, punchy, live sound, then 8000F Mark II is great. If you want something that's a little bit more refined, the KEF Q11 Meta Tower is going to be a good option. I think you might... trying to think here. Let me see. not knowing the Polk R700s, that is a jack of all trades speaker that will work in a very, very large room. Has amazing bass, better bass than even the Kef. Now it's a slightly older speaker at this point. You know, it's been around for 3-4 years, but they're currently priced, based on what I'm seeing right here, on Crutchfield, they're currently priced at just about $1,000 each. That's a hell of a speaker at $2,000. That's a great speaker.
Which speaker?
The R700, the Polk R700. That will fit all of your criteria. It really will. Let me see. I don't think you could get into the bigger SVSs at that price. Yeah. I'm seeing a couple of scratch and dent options here, but I don't think these are going to be quite what you're looking for. The Polk R700 really is going to scratch all of those itches that you've listed here. The only thing you got to be aware of with the Polk is they do like a fair amount of power. So you're not going to throw this on like a super budgety Wim amp. You're not going to get what you've paid for in the Polk. So you better, look at if you don't already have something that's capable, you better look at something from the likes of like an Emotiva. Even their budget Bass X separates will do great, but you're not going to want to put a speaker like the R700 on some type of like TI based chip amp. It's just not going to be a good thing. So yeah, I hope that helps. I have no idea how to say this name. I'm not even going to try. A string of letters and numbers. All speakers are in ceiling speakers except for sub. Best room correction option. New Sony AVR or something with Dirac. Again, if all of the speakers are in ceiling, not knowing height of that ceiling, did you place them? Were they placed by a builder? Is the placement symmetrical? Is it asymmetrical? There's a lot of variables. I really like what Sony does with their EQ, their spatial mapping. In which case you're looking at the Sony 5000 ES or 7000 ES for that. But Dirac, especially with the whole suite of different pieces of software that are coming, and then of course Dirac, was it Art? That's going to be dropping on Marantz and Denon products soon. Who knows what that's going to bring to the table? Who knows how big of a difference that's going to make? I think if it were me and I'm building a hidden out-of-the-way system, you're torn between the same two, call it products or pieces of software that I am. I love them both, and I love them both for very different reasons. Asymmetrical layouts, irregular speaker placement, I think Sony does a little bit better. But if you set up the in-ceilings properly with relative adhesion to Dolby speaker layout standards, then you're probably going to have a really great experience with Dirac. And that's the best I got for you. So, Juan writes, I want to get the JBL L82 to use in a dedicated room that I'm building and moving my Lumina Vs to the living room. Do they have a different sound? L82s, is that the medium one? I think that's the medium one. Let me just double check here. JBL L82. Yes, that's the medium one. Are they going to be different sound than the Lumina? Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I hesitate to use words like night and day. because that's going to vary depending on the individual. But yes, they will have a different sound. What that different sound is going to be for you is very hard to promise, but they're going to sound like different speakers for sure. For sure. Salutations. Currently have a Yamaha RN500, RP8000F Mark II, LG C2 with optical out to the R500. Looking to upgrade to a Stereo 70 for the HDMI. Would I need a power amp? On 8000 F2s? I don't think so. Let's see. Stereo 70S. Stereo 70S, 75. Nah. I think you'll be okay. You know what I would do is I would make the change. If that's what you want, make the change, try it. If you find out a month or two down the road that you want more power, need more power, Emotiva Base X A2, I think it is, stereo amplifier. It's going to run you like $399, I think, and it's going to be 150 or is it 200 watts? It'll be great. But I would just do the Stereo 70S, see how you like it, and then decide from there. The other thing, I don't know if you need more HDMI inputs, but the other thing that you could consider at $1,000 would be the Marantz Model M1. Now that's going to give you more power. It'll also give you room correction, virtualization, and it will have that HDMI input. Something to consider. Now I would do the Marantz Model M1 over the Stereo 70S as long as you know that you're not going to want to add an amplifier down the road and you're looking for a one and doneer. Because I do think that the Model M1 is better than the 70S as a one and doneer. But if you want to expand into the future, even if there's a 10% chance that you want that, spend the $1,000 on the 70S, because at least you'll have that flexibility in the future. Yeah. Yep. So, and you have multiple HDMI inputs, which could be beneficial as well. So that would be my advice. Dwayne's coming in. Emotiva PT2, XPA HC1, okay, mini DSP plus WIM setup seems to have a little overall loudness at volume. Nothing moved, wiring solid, WIM constant output, preamp normal settings. Not sure if it's just my ears ever experience it. Seems to have a little overall loudness, like a loudness curve, Dwayne? Because loudness in the...
Dip at loudness.
Say what? Has a dip?
Dwayne said dip at loudness.
A dip. So at higher volumes, it seems to... So at higher volumes, Dwayne, it seems to lose volume? Or it like throttles itself? There's like a limiter? If there is a limiter happening...
Less loudness,
Dwayne
says.
Less loudness. WIM is constant output, preamp normal settings.
Less loudness overall, Dwayne says.
Okay. It could be that the mini DSP input or output gain needs to be adjusted. It also could be inside the WIM settings, there may be individual gain settings based on the source inside the WIM, perhaps. I know that with even Apple TV, if you go into the settings and you go under apps, each individual app sometimes has its own little volume adjustment or setting that you need to address. So it's possible that while the WIM is outputting everything, stable and whatnot, let's say Amazon Music versus Tidal, or optical input versus optical 1 versus optical 2. I don't have a whim in front of me. But it's possible that each individual input could have a setting that is causing some of that to occur. I'm spitballing, but it is something that I run into on a lot of different products. So it's always worth investigating every single page of an app to see if there isn't a little toggle box or a slider that isn't where it needs to be. The only other thing that I can think of is the mini DSP input or output sensitivity or gain. Maybe that got adjusted or accidentally in the app or in the software got moved. That could be causing it, because I don't think anything inside the Emotiva, and definitely not the amplifier. It has to be something to do with the signal chain with WIM and mini DSP. Either it's inside the WIM or it's inside the mini DSP, or they're both doing something. And that could be causing it. I have experienced it, not in this exact way that you might be faced, but I run into it all the time. I ran into it earlier this week with some Bang & Olufsen products. I was wiring up a new product that's here, and each individual input has its own variable settings, and I didn't know that going into it. And so there were certain things where I would play and I'm like, wait, it's not bad. It's just, that doesn't sound quite right. And lo and behold, when I go into the app and, I look at digital input, this, that, and I'm like, oh shoot, I need to turn that on for this input, turn that off for that input, and so on and so forth. So it might be something like that you may have to investigate just a little bit further. But yeah, it can be frustrating. I know for sure. Okay, I got all caught up there. Yeah, I think I am. I think I'm all caught up. You're getting a bunch of, Dwayne, I'm seeing a lot of people in the community trying to help you out as well. And I love that. I really do. And I also think that some of you are probably going to be bigger experts on things like the WIM than even me. So I love to see people come to the rescue and help out fellow viewers. That's awesome. Let's see. Oh, there you go. You're talking travel plans. I'm seeing travel plans in the comments. Arcam, Dragonstone, Arcam SA45 review. Nothing on the books, nothing on the radar. Not sure if I'll ever hear from Arcam again, to be honest. Just because Arcam is Harman and Harman is JBL, and they were none too pleased with us over the last JBL review. Sorry, not sorry. Speakers were crap. Chris Veltman, the new KLH7s really are hitting. Are they finally out? Boy, talk about a speaker that has been like coming soon for 4+ years. I think the first time we were showed a photograph and we're told like, hey, they're dropping in the fall and we're going to bring them out at a trade show. I think the first time I saw a photograph of the KLH Model 7 was we were still in Austin. That's how long ago it was. And then nothing. They never showed up for review. I never knew if they were released. So if they're out, embargo's over, I guess. But yeah, they're weird looking. They're stretched. The stretch limousine of speakers. But yeah. Let's see here. Clem writes, any new Sonus Fabers coming after the renovation? None that are on the list as of right now. Obviously things can and often change, but there's there's nothing. I would love to get one of their higher end speakers in-house, especially coming off of the Wilson, especially going into what's coming for you all over the next month. I think it would be a great opportunity for you guys, as well as Sonos Faber, if we could have one of their more elevated experiences to share with you all. I know I have floated the idea many times to them as far as like, hey, can we do this, that? And it looked like we were going to go a little bit upstream, and then we got the bookshelves that we had a couple of months ago. That's what they sent us. So I don't know what the holdup is as far as going a bit more crazy and showcasing something really kind of out there, and but you never know. A lot of times with stuff like that, we just get a random call and they'll be like, hey, we want to do something now. What do you think? And it's like, if it works with our schedule, our door's open. And then they send it and we play with it, make our video and share it with you all. But as of right now, there's nothing on the schedule. So, Chris Veltman writes, Bang & Olufsen Amsterdam, best customer service. I've never been to Bang & Olufsen Amsterdam. I've never been to Amsterdam. Not surprised that you received excellent customer service from them. I would like to think that as a brand, seeing as how 90% of Bang & Olufsen's portfolio is, call it dealer installed or dealer purchased, this is not something that you do yourself. I think that as a brand, they're really pushing for that sentiment from people like yourself to really have that elevated experience, that customer service. That's part of what you're buying, is the customer experience. But I'm glad that it resonated with you. Let's see. Bruce wants to know, any plans to review the Mo5 V10s? Heard them at Audio Advice with Andrew Jones. They sounded awesome. I have nothing against Andrew Jones. I think his speakers are phenomenal. I personally don't have an interest in them. We've done the Source Point 8s. We did the triple 8s, or did we do the triple 10s?
We did the triple 8s, and we did the smaller.
The small 8.
The small.
Or was it the 10?
I don't remember.
We've done the bookshelf and we've done one of the towers. I think it's just kind of, I don't want to say more of the same, because it is obviously going to be more, it's going to be more of the same. But I feel like we've covered that line sufficiently, and we have nothing but positive things to really say about it. So if you like what he's done with the smaller towers and you just want bigger scale, maybe more dynamic punch, greater bass extension, yeah, do the 10s. Let's see. Tyler looks forward to more soundbar reviews. Well, buckle up, because we got 2 in-house right now, one of which is going to be a bit of a revisit, because for the first time in my career, I don't think I got my review 100% bang on. But I say that partially because I wasn't able to fully appreciate all of the things that this particular bar was able to do, because I didn't have any ancillary stuff to also work with it. So it's not, I guess I didn't get it wrong. It's just going to be a part 2, because it's either a soundbar or an entirely different animal. And the different animal part of it is now why I believe it's worth its weight in gold, because it's a remarkable piece of kit. And then we have a soundbar in-house right now, very early stages, that is an all new design for this company. And I think I'm already getting asked about it. That's all I'm going to say about it. I'm already getting asked about it. So obviously someone's leaked it, but we have that as well. Whoops, something jumped. Did I miss a super chat here? Let me make sure I didn't just miss something. Nope. Okay. Sometimes my text box does some weird stuff. So let's see. Let me get back to the chat here. Looks like you're filling some of our regulars in on your stuff, babe.
Yeah, Afonso asked how I was doing much earlier.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I let him know
Okay.
what was going on with me. For anyone that's been following us, so this year's been just kind of it's been kind of a rough year. It's been a rough year.
This year sucks.
This year has sucked.
This year sucks.
Early in February, my dad had a heart attack. They live in Dallas. My parents live in Dallas. And so we traveled there and to help, just to kind of be there once that initially happened. And at the time my dad was in the hospital, my mom was spending pretty much every night with him. She never went home, which, I have my own feelings about. But anyway, she ended up rolling off one of the little like bench sofas that you find in a hospital room, and she fractured her clavicle. So she was in such a horrible state because essentially both of my parents have been living a sedentary lifestyle for like the past 15 years at least. And I have begged them to take more of an interest in their own health and well-being for years, and of course never could get through. Some people just are determined to live however they're going to live. I'm sure a lot of you have experience with that. In fact, I know you have because you've messaged even in this particular live video. So basically, both my parents were in an inpatient rehab facility for several weeks at the same time, which was fun. And I spent about 3 months in Dallas trying to help them. And, Andrew and I discovered that my parents were living in a somewhat of like a hoarder type situation. Not as bad as what you've probably seen on TV shows, but it was bad. It was bad. It's my childhood home, and not to go into too many details, I just hadn't been in their house in a while, and I had no idea that the state it had gotten to.
Yeah.
It was awful, uninhabitable.
Yeah.
And I honestly, it was just like the shock of that, dealing with the two of them being incapacitated at the same time. It's like, wow, okay. So 3 months I was there. Andrew came back when he could because, we still have to, earn a living. But I was there every single day, running their errands, taking them to doctor's appointments. I found an apartment for them to live in, multiple apartments. We looked at assisted living facilities, and they had a list of demands, because they're not quite living in reality, right? And I did the best I could to find them a place that they could continue to live their life as they had been, have all their dogs and, but it was a smaller place. We had every single room in this apartment, all the carpet switched out for hardwood floors. We had the like grab bars installed in like all the bathrooms. They had a shower that they could walk into. You know, it was going to be a much safer place for them. Plus, they had a a gym
Yeah.
within steps, you know, that had many of the some of the exercise equipment that they were using in their rehab.
Yeah.
And plus it was an over 55 or 60 whatever community. So it just seemed like the perfect place. You know, everything they needed was nearby, and they could continue their therapies, and they could continue exercising and improving their lives. That was what we had hoped for.
That was the plan.
That was the plan. They had their dogs, which was like the only thing that they seemed to care about. Anyway, and they just never gave it a chance. And complained.
They didn't do any of the things before we left them, because we literally had to leave. Like, we set them up, you set them up, you did all the things that you said, and then we had a heart-to-heart on that last day, and we're like, we have to go back to work. We have to do this. We're going to check in. We're going to hopefully pop by every once a month, come in and help out. But we need to go back to work. And we were told up, down, left, right, and center, like, we are committed. We're going to right the ship. Thank you for everything that you've done. And then I don't even think we were on the tarmac to fly home.
Yeah, we landed, and I already had, you know, my mom panicking with questions.
Yeah.
And, you know, we spent about $40,000 in the process over those 3 months just living, because I had to live out of a hotel room because their home was uninhabitable.
Yeah.
You know, car rentals, eating out of at a restaurants every time.
Yeah.
You know,
buying them new wardrobes, new furniture,
bought them clothes,
fixed their car,
bought them new TVs for every room. Like, we really tried to make their lives as amazing as possible, you know, because it's like, I want you to enjoy the time you have left on this earth. And to learn after that they never did, you know, they stopped going to their outpatient therapy, physical therapy. They weren't doing they wouldn't even go to the gym in the apartment complex.
It's not even 100 yards away.
No.
It's not even 100 yards. We got them the ground level right there.
They complained that they had to get up to let the dogs out to the bathroom, you know, whereas back at their home, they had a dog door. And it's just like, there's a point where I couldn't believe it. I'm like, the entitlement that's happening here.
Yeah.
You know, meanwhile, this was something I shared with Afonso, and some of the other people who were chatting with me in the chat box. In May, when I finally was back home, I had a mammogram, and that showed some concerns. And I went through like 3 or 4 different mammograms. I had an ultrasound. I ultimately had a biopsy done. And I thought that I was in the clear, but they wanted me to see a breast surgeon just to follow up for next steps. And I did that actually this week.
Monday.
And so I'm having a surgery done at the end of September, so that the breast surgeon can go in and really know for sure what we're dealing with. And all I can say is, like, I hope, I pray that it's, you know, nothing, and it's just like scar tissue or something.
Yeah.
You know, but the option was, well, you know, there's a 10% chance it could be cancer. or you don't have to have this surgery, but if you don't, every 6 months you're going to have to go and have another mammogram, and they'll monitor the growth and blah 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 blah. Anyway, and I just thought the month-long period through all of the mammograms and the waiting for biopsy results it took such an emotional toll on me. If anyone has been through something like this, like my heart goes out to you, because the not knowing is worse than any of the procedures.
It's awful. It's absolutely awful.
And so I decided right there in the office, I'm just gonna let's just see what it is. I just want to know. And so September 30th will be the surgery. They are gonna put me under. I'm a little bit nervous about that.
You'll be all right.
But in the meantime, my dad's had another heart attack. My mom fell again and broke her
shoulder
blade. And now they're moving back to their house that I grew up in.
That's uninhabitable.
That's uninhabitable because reasons.
Yep. They took our money and now they're going back home.
And they didn't even tell us they were doing this. The only reason I learned of this was because my mom fell and ended up in the hospital. And of course,
we still found out days later.
Yeah. They have this habit of not telling me that something serious has happened until,
there's nothing we
they
can do
have
about
to
it.
Or something, So she was in the hospital for 3 days before I even learned she was in the hospital. Anyway, I know this is a lot of information that some of you probably really don't care about. But for those that do, it's been a real shit year. And I know a lot of people, it's a shit year for a lot of people, you know. And I just really hope that come September, at least health-wise, I can take a breath.
Take a breather.
And maybe have, some moments where I don't have to be scared.
Yeah, I want that for you.
I've taken a step away from my parents. I've had to, for my own sanity. And it's so anybody that I know, there's a ton of you who have commented that you're dealing with similar situations where you've had to put your loved ones into places that where they can get the care that they need. And I know how difficult a decision that is. I know how expensive it is. I wish if you live in the United States at least, I wish that our country took better care of its citizens. I wish we had nationalized health care so that people didn't have to go broke, to just take care of themselves. And I mean, one of the conversations Andrew and I had when I was, before I even, right after the autopsy, not the autopsy,
The biopsy.
The biopsy happened. The bills just kept coming, and the costs for the multiple subsequent mammograms and ultrasound and the biopsy was in the thousands. And
we have insurance, and we
yeah, not autopsy.
we have insurance, and we have what I'm confident many people would say is really good insurance. We pay for it out of pocket, 100% ourselves, to the tune of almost $2,000 a month for the two of us, and it's going up. And the costs, even with insurance, is
thousands of dollars.
Thousands of dollars.
And I said to Andrew, and I was like, oh my goodness, could you imagine getting news like this and then having to think, can I even afford to get the results?
Yeah.
To get an answer, much less what do you do if the answer is really terrible?
I mean, I hate to be blunt, but it does seem like it seems, given the current state of things, at least as far as healthcare is concerned in the United States, the answer, and if you're poor, is just die. It really feels like that. It really does. And I hate to sound like that. I'm a generally optimistic person, but I've spent more time dealing with healthcare in the last year, not because there's something I'm unhealthy or anything like that, but just, your parents, what you're going through, and just being kind of the bystander that has to witness it from all different sides. Like, there's no answer. There's no answer. Like, at every turn, everyone's super apologetic. Everyone understands. Everyone says, I hear you. But the doctors are just as hand-tied as the patients. The system is dumb AF. And I really do feel like the solution for a lot of people that aren't, fortunate or able to have a career or an employer who maybe picks up some of the tab, like, you're screwed. Don't get sick. That's it. Like, don't get sick. Don't need help. Uh-oh.
Did you just crash?
I just crashed.
Yeah, my YouTube has crashed about 3 times since the stream started.
Okay.
So the like silver lining in all of this is it's made both of us really reevaluate our situation. And, I've had to look at what's going on with my parents from a different perspective. Mm-hmm. And I've had to make the choice to step away from them somewhat because, I don't know what more I can do. We've already given so much. And if they want to they're going to continue to make their decisions not based in reality, then I have to I have to be like, well, then, okay, that's the life you want to live. Oh, I can accept that and respect that. But at the same time, I also have to take a step away and prioritize my own mental health and health as well. But, the only one other thing that I would say, if you're in a situation where you're not a young spring chicken, is to take care of yourself as best you can. Going and walking, which is free, as that can make a huge impact on your physical and mental well-being. Mm-hmm. So if you're in a place where you feel kind of stuck and you're not quite on the tipping point of being, facing something really horrible, like try your best to turn it around. Mm-hmm. Because I in this country especially, I don't know what else you can do. It's really tough. And I feel fortunate because we're not poor. We have insurance. It's super expensive, but man, so many people are like one really bad health diagnosis away of losing everything. Mm-hmm. So if you can prioritize your health in any way possible, please do it. It will make a difference. Yeah. At least it'll give you a fighting chance, I think.
It helps. It helps. If you've watched our live streams lately, I've turned into quite the walker. I can't imagine not starting and ending my day with a walk. Like, I need it at this point. I'm so addicted to it. It's meditation for me. And I can't say enough good things about it. And if you live in an apartment complex or a condo and it has a gym and it's just one of those things you walk by, just do it. Do it for 5 days. And you don't have to do run or anything like that. Put it at 2.5 miles an hour, 20, 30 minutes once a day. Do it 5 days in a row. I promise you on the 6th day, you'll want to do it. Your body will want to do it. And you'll see change. You really will. I'm not a health guru. I'm just telling you, there's something about the way body-brain chemistry works. Even at 2.5 miles an hour, it does something, and it makes you happy. It does. All right. I'm going to get to a nice transitional question, and this is important. Kristi, I need you to pay attention.
Okay.
What just happened? Oh, why is it not? Okay, guys, you're going to see a black screen for a second. Hold on. Apologies. I'm still here.
What's going on?
Well, when it crashed, I have to reload the comments. So there it is. Here's the important question. Texas is ranked number 1 in football.
What?
What's better, watching a game in person or watching a game on the best TV you've had in-house?
Wait, are they really ranked number 1?
That's what Chris Feldman says.
I honestly haven't had the chance to pay any attention, and I've been a little reluctant to, because as a Longhorns fan, man, I'm sure Cowboy fans out there also know this.
Yeah.
The crush of hope that happens as being a fan of some sports teams.
Yeah.
They just find a way to, man, just rip your heart out. But I did not know if they are ranked number 1. What's better, watching a game in person? Dang, you know what? As I used to have season tickets to the Longhorns back in the day, and there truly is something special about
Being at one of their games.
being at a game. I've had the opportunity to sit in one of those like suites, and that's a cool experience, but I would hands down rather have seats in the stands amongst the fans than sit in a box. It's
Okay.
just so much better. So
Okay.
much better. Now that said,
Here's the twist.
being here at home with our nice television and sound system without interruptions and people not walking in front of you, I can pause and go to the restroom. I can get my snacks. That's pretty great. And it's not hot.
Yeah. I've been to a couple of games with you. Some pretty nice marquee matchups. I would prefer to watch at home all day. All day.
The Longhorns are probably the only team that I would ever spend money. They are the only, not probably, they are the only team I would ever spend money on to go see them in person. Mm-hmm. We almost went to last year's semi-playoffs.
Yeah.
Was it last year?
It was.
I think it was last
It
year.
was last year. We had tickets, and then we were like, well, if they go, we can only do one of these because it's so expensive. Oh, there's Katie making an appearance. So if they go all the way, what would you rather see? The game before the national championship, or would you rather go to the national championship? And we opted to roll the dice, and if they go to the championship, we're going to go see that. And then, of course, they didn't go. And so we didn't go.
We lost a lot of money on that decision. That was another big mistake.
We lost a lot of money on Longhorns last year.
Yeah, we
Not because
did.
we're betting, just because due to a previous other situation outside of Kristi and I's control several years ago, we didn't get to go to a game that we had wanted to go to for years. And so we made that dream a reality, but then
Oh, you're talking about the Texas OU game.
Texas OU game.
Yeah, the
and-
Red River rivalry that happens in Dallas. Try saying that 3 times.
Yeah, so we
took my parents. My parents had never been,
yeah,
and I really wanted them to have that opportunity.
yeah.
And so we bought tickets through which
SeatGeek.
SeatGeek.
Don't use them.
They suck.
They're terrible.
They suck so hard. Mm-hmm. And we didn't even have our seats until like 5 minutes before the gates opened.
Yeah, we got a text saying like, here are your tickets, and then we paid for unobstructed views and a certain thing, and SeatGeek put us behind a pole.
A huge pole.
A huge, like all 4 of our seats were literally behind a pole. And obviously you can't get anyone on customer service. You can't get anything like that. And I'm like, we have flown to Dallas.
Just a real quick a side quest. Mm-hmm. We had tried to go the previous year. We had tickets.
Yeah.
We did have tickets to go to the Texas OU game, but my grandmother died.
Yeah.
And we weren't able, like, she literally died, like,
Day.
yeah, so we couldn't go.
Yeah.
So we ended up spending all this money to, it was going to be like a really special reunion, you know? Anyway.
Positive spin. Got placed behind a pole. I'm livid. SeatGeek is not answering calls or anything like that. And it's...
Oh, we didn't even know if we were going to have tickets.
Well, no. SeatGeek, we didn't know we were going to have tickets up until about, like you said, 5 minutes before the thing opened, despite our credit card being charged, by the way.
But the day before, when we had flown in, I had spent
Yeah.
all day either on the phone or on chat with, tech support.
Yeah.
Trying to get an answer. They ultimately told me at 5:00 that Friday to call the Texas box office, the University of Texas box office, to see what was going on. And I'm like, it's 5:00.
Yeah.
The day before the game, and they're closed. Yeah, well, sorry, I can't help you. Just show up to the stadium and hopefully it all works out. That's literally what they said.
Yeah. And someone just wrote in the comments here, sounds like a future class action lawsuit. Mark my words. There will be some sort of CoffeeZilla-esque expose in the next couple of years for like SeatGeek and all of these other resellers of tickets. I'm telling you, there's shady. It's honey. It's the new honey extension. There's something shady going on behind the scenes with all those companies. And
we need CoffeeZilla to do an expose.
Yeah, because when I was fighting to get our situation reversed and our money back, like the amount of BS and corporate and legalese and stuff that was suddenly being pushed into my inbox as to like why I signed up for this. Apparently, like I was fully aware that I could end up with seats different than what I picked from their site and paid full price for. Honestly, if at that time, if we did not have a connection, a third party connection that happened to also know like someone very high up in SeatGeek that basically called in a favor and said, "Hey, I've got a friend here that's about to go thermo on your company. Like, how do we make this right?" We would be like a normal customer probably and have been absolutely shafted.
Andrew was basically a knight in shining armor that day. He kind of disappeared for a few minutes, and people were not many people were in the stadium at this point, and I could see him. He was like down by the field.
Yeah, I walked down by the field.
He wandered far away, and he was on his phone. And the next thing, he comes back up, and he's like, "Guys, follow me." And he bought us new tickets.
Yeah, from the stadium. So
From a different seller.
Parent-in-law, my wife, they're up behind this pillar, just wondering, what are we doing here? I'm 5 rows back of the field speaking with a private seller who was unable to go, and I just bought their tickets at quadruple whatever face value was. But we ended up getting to see the game, and then 2 weeks later, all was resolved with SeatGeek, financially anyway. Screw
We at
that.
least got our money back.
Yeah, screw that company. But Chris, side quest, I would rather watch at home at this point because I don't trust anybody when it comes to buying tickets. Because hell, we bought playoff tickets for the Longhorns directly through Ticketmaster who was selling it. And then it turns out like, oh, hold on a minute. You may not have, and it's like, who can you trust when you're buying tickets at this point? None of it's real. It's all a scam. And I'm telling you, we're all going to turn on YouTube within the next 5 years. And there's going to be like some big, like the downfall of SeatGeek. And you're going to see all of these influencers' faces on the thumbnail because they propped them up. And anyway, Roger. Roger. Andrew, 60/40 music and movies. ELAC, DB63 plus Eversolo Play versus the Sevens adding an SVS 1000 sub. Look, if you want to, if you want to have the future expandability, the quote audiophile experience where your tastes and mood and preferences can change over time, do the ELAC Eversolo with a sub, because at a minimum, if you like the speakers and the sub together, and you want to grow into home theater, you know, you're keeping your speakers and your sub. You're buying a few more speakers, or you're just swapping out for a receiver or whatnot. The Sevens is like, look, I don't plan on ever kind of re-upping. I just want it to work. I just want simplicity. A streamlined experience, then the sevens are great. Sevens are great. So it really depends. It's not even 60/40 music movies. It's more how involved do you want to be? And do you think there's a future where you're going to become more involved or want to make different changes, choices, and things like that? Because if that's the case, then you should get something that's more component based, which would be your ELAC, Eversolo, and SVS sub. Peter, for simply a 7.2.4 processor, would you recommend an RZ50, Marantz Cinema Series, or Sony 5000? Setup is Biolab 8000s as left and rear, Biolab 3 as a center, Biolab 6000 as left rear, okay, and 4000s for rear and Atmos. So for those of you who may be confused by this question, what Peter has is he has older Bang & Olufsen powered speakers. And one of the things about Bang & Olufsen speakers is they do have line level inputs, RCA style inputs. Some of their higher end ones even have XLR. So this would enable him to connect those speakers to an RZ50's preamp outputs and basically kind of have a Bang & Olufsen traditional home theater, if you will. In this instance, it's going to come down to, with respect to the Onkyo and the Marantz, is if you plan on using room correction through your Bang & Olufsen's, do you want access to Dirac? If that's the case, if you can get by with an RZ50, which I thought the RZ50 was, let me see. Again, guys, I try and keep as much of this at the top of my head, but I will admit, RZ is 9.2 channels, so 9.2, but it has that extra. I mean, the RZ50's got the Dirac built in. You know, your subwoofers on the RZ50 are not independent. I don't know how much that matters to you or not. The Marantz stuff is fantastic, but you are going to pay extra to incorporate, Dirac and all of that. So I would probably go one of those two routes. Nothing against the Sony 5000. It's great. But as someone who's used the 4000s with the Onkyos in the past, I really liked being able to apply Dirac to some of those older speakers and, change them up a little bit. So that's kind of where my gut is steering me to go. Trash day, if you guys can hear that. Jay Lauren, thank you so much for your support. Here's to making it through a shit year. I appreciate that.
Thank you so much.
Clem, I appreciate it as well. Thanks for sharing your story. We love you both. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Joey the Dime writes, as a follow-up, what's your number one pick of an 85-inch TV dedicated to watching college and pro football. I mean, so far this year, the most impressive two TVs overall have really been the Bravia 9 and the LG C5 OLED. Now, the LG C5 OLED is going to top out at 83 inches. But it was a phenomenal TV, arguably better out of the box than the Bravia 9. However, the Bravia 9 does get brighter, has better processing than the C5, which can pay dividends with sports and lower broadcast signals. Stay tuned for Sunday. Sundays may throw a wild card into that mix for some of you. Sunday's video. On the budget side of things, I really want to full weight and everything about the TCL QM 8K. It's a phenomenal TV, but that buzzing that we encountered, that we talked about in the review, and we told you some of the workarounds on that, that is a concern for me. And TCL is now obviously aware of it, and they are actually taking our exact sample back, and they're going to take it apart. They're going to figure out what that was. So as far as TCL goes, I actually had a more trouble-free experience, and one that was equally of a high quality, with the QM7K. That's a phenomenal TV, and all intents and purposes, unless you just need megawatt brightness, it might be the better overall buy. So Bravia 9, if you want to leave no doubt and have that just reference. LG C5, which is an OLED, caps out at 83, phenomenal television. But if you want to go 85 and save, I think the QM7K from TCL is pretty phenomenal. Pretty phenomenal. And every bit as good as the Bravia 7 from Sony, which costs more. So there you go. Alex. Hi, Andrew. This 5.2.4, okay. Q7 times 2, Q6 times 1, Q Concerto times 2, Q8 times 4, KC62 times 2, Cinema 50 times 1, compared to the BioLab 28 plus 8 plus theater swap. Okay, Alex, this is an impossible question to answer, and I'm sorry. I'm going to do my best to answer it. You're trying to determine if you can piece together a whole system around KEF Q series and have it beat a Bang & Olufsen surround sound setup. I will tell you this. They're not comparable, and not because one is demonstrably different, better than the other. It's all going to depend on the individual. As someone who is deeply, deeply invested in I'm a Bang & Olufsen customer. You're buying the sound quality and the user experience and the customer support, because that's all up here. But you're also doing it because you want a demonstrably different experience than all of this stuff that you just laid out. You don't want to have to worry or think about that stuff. You want something that slots into your life and becomes an extension of how you watch or enjoy media at any given moment of any given day. But you want to make sure that you're having it at that high level. That's what you're buying, is peace of mind and simplicity. And that comes with a pretty high price tag. Is it worth it? That's going to be up to the individual. For me, it is. And I've put my money where my mouth is when I say that. For me, it is. I can't think of a better experience for me. But I also acknowledge that if you're someone that wants to be a home theater enthusiast, wants to be a hi-fi enthusiast, wants to play with gear, wants to experiment and find what works for them over the course of several years, it's not the right solution for that. That's not it. This is also why I think a lot of people come to Bang & Olufsen maybe later in their journey. It has nothing to do with the financial part of it. It's like you have to figure out like what is it that's important to you? What is it that you want? And for me, it's about waving kind of goodbye to all of the various permutations of, well, this speaker with that speaker with this with that with this, is this going to, you just say goodbye to that. You turn that part of your brain off and you go, I want it as frictionless, perfect, high quality as possible, that is streamlined. So if that is the experience you want, then go Bang & Olufsen. But if you want to be able to sit on a forum and talk shop with your buddies, don't go Bang & Olufsen and go get this KEF setup that you're stipulating, because it's not the same thing. It's just not. And that, I hope, helps you. I hope. Tom, hey y'all, I have a full stack of SAE 102 system. I'm considering tri-wiring a new set of towers. What are your thoughts on tri-wiring, bi-wiring, or sticking with 2.1? Okay, I have to Google that. I don't know what that is. SAE 102. What is this? Scientific audio. Oh, guys. All right, I can't speak at all about the product specifically that you're talking about. Yeah, I can only answer the second half of your question to the best of my ability. And that is, what are my thoughts on tri-wiring and bi-wiring? Have I heard differences? Yes. Have they been night and day different? No. Has it turned one product into something completely different by, say, bypassing the built-in jumpers? Not really. You can make your own jumpers, by the way, just as easily, or buy aftermarket jumpers, and then you don't have to buy wire or tri-wire. When it comes to bi-wiring or bi-amping, if you have the tools, the extra cables or the extra amp to give it a shot, there's no harm in trying it. There's no harm in trying it. I wouldn't buy anything specifically to try it, but if you have it in your possession and can do it, what a fun way to spend an afternoon and figure out for yourself if it's something you want to do or not do. I think these are 1-2 percentage point tweaks when you're chasing that final nth degree. I think if you're at that stage in your journey, give it a shot. You can always go back to not doing it. But don't put so much weight or emphasis on it the way some people might talk about it, where they're like, hey, as soon as you buy wire, blah, blah, blah speaker, it's a whole other animal and it fixes everything. Chances are that's not going to be true. Chances are that's hyperbole nonsense. But it can be a way to maybe get that 0.5%, that little nth degree more out of something, but temper your expectations. Bodie McBoatface says, just want to send a happy belated anniversary. Yours is the same as ours. We just celebrated our 31st wedding anniversary. Well, congratulations, Bodie. Appreciate it. Thank you. Let's see. What time is it? It is 11:19. 11:19. Let me see. What's going on here? Ian wants to go B&O. It's once you go, it's very hard to go back. Let's see. Did I miss anything? Have you seen anything that you need me to flag? You want me to touch upon?
Excuse me. We've had a few people ask about the Klipsch Flexus 300. And this came up also in the comments of the KEF Zeo review.
Yeah.
So I did answer in the comments, so if you've already seen this, bear with me. But just so the information is out there. So back last year in 2024, when that product was announced, we were sent, I think we were like the first reviewers sent that product. And Andrew tested it and immediately found some pretty significant issues. And we let Klipsch know about all the problems we found. And we waited for about 3 months while they attempted to correct these issues that had to do with, a lot of it was software related.
The platform, yeah.
The platform itself.
Yeah.
The app, which has been kind of a mess since the Cinema 1200 soundbar came out, which is like the prior soundbar product. And yeah, so we waited about 3 months for them to kind of get things resolved, and it just never happened. And we just couldn't continue to store it. So we returned that product back to Klipsch and said, hey, when you guys get this thing, actually working, send it back and we'll review it then. And we never heard anything about it. They never circled back. Everyone moved on with their lives. And then I guess maybe it was starting with the Zeo, the announcement of the Zeo, we started getting questions about the Flexus again. And a lot of people were talking about it as if it were this new product. And so I reached out to our Klipsch rep via email, and I said, hey, we're getting questions about the Flexus, and it sounds like it's maybe a new product. Can we get one? And they replied right away and let me know that it was not a new product. It was not something different than what we had experienced, in 2024. And that they were not going to, she didn't think she was going to have a sample to send us for review because they couldn't even keep the product in stock at the retail level and it's currently out of stock. At least it was a couple of weeks ago. And she had no timetable as to when or if it would ever come back into stock. And so I got the impression that we're not getting one.
Yeah.
Or not to expect one.
Yeah. And I mean...
So I know there's a lot of people that want to know about it since it seems to be back in the news again. But unfortunately, I doubt we're going to have the opportunity to test it. As I said to someone else in the chat box, I'm a little bit wary and skeptical of Klipsch soundbars that rely heavily on apps for control. It's just not been something they've excelled at. And I think as we saw with the Zeo from KEF, just because a brand makes great speakers, that does not mean they're software engineers. And unless you have someone that really understands software, these type of products can often be plagued with just loads of issues.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of my gut feeling on the Flexus. If you decide to buy it, make sure you have the opportunity to return it. If it doesn't work, or if you get the product and it's one of those situations where something is coming later, don't. You're unlikely to get something fulfilled. It's just, that's the track record with these brands, and I would not buy anything until every single feature that they claim on the box is in the box.
Yeah. Don't buy anything on the promise of something coming. Buy it on what you can do with it today. Absolutely. Kevin. Hi, LG C5 or TCL QM7K, both 77 inches. They're both great TVs. It really comes down to whether or not you're one of these types of people that can't see past or deal with LED based televisions, and say that no matter what the LED TV is, the blooming is always blah blah blah, the viewing angle's always crap, so on and so forth, then you should buy the OLED, the C5. But if you're someone like, oh, I'm afraid of burn-in and all of these other tropes about OLED, where they're not really true anymore, then the C5 is great. The only difference is that you won't have as bright of a situation with the C5. So if you are watching in a lot of ambient light, or you can't control the light due to windows or whatnot, like both are a bit reflective, but the C5 is more reflective. So while it has a wider viewing angle, because it's glass, it becomes a mirror under the wrong circumstances. So it's something to be aware of. But I can't, I just crashed again. What is up, man?
I think it's YouTube, because it can't be our
It's not our internet. We haven't dropped signal at all. So I apologize if you guys see a black screen here again. I'm going to make sure that we're up and running just as quick as can be. 2 seconds. Hopefully I got through that comment sufficiently for people. Okay, back to the live stream. And yes, so sorry for the interruption. That would be YouTube's fault, not your boy. So yeah, that's kind of my take. They're both fantastic televisions. It's just a matter of what your particular viewing situation may, or personal taste, just kind of where they steer you. If I'm not mistaken, you're probably going to spend a little less on the TCL. I haven't checked the pricing on a 77-inch C5, but I have to imagine it's going to be a little higher than that of an LED. Jay Lauren, any more tube equipment in the queue? Supposedly, there is a tube hybrid product coming in September, and I'm really excited about it. I don't know anything about it. I'm just excited to put ears on it and hands on it because it looks intriguing, and it's at a price point for this brand that I believe is going to be attractive. So I'm excited, and that should be arriving in September. That review would be weeks after that. I want to integrate a mini DSP Studio, Cord Hugo TT2 DAC, and monoblock amps into my 5.1. Which premium AVR could do stereo preamp duties as well? Oh boy. Well, if you get something like a Marantz, you can put preamp. You can put it into a preamp only mode on certain inputs, which basically just makes it a passive kind of volume control situation. That would be my best. That'd be where I'd steer you. I guess I would also ask, like, what are you wanting to accomplish? Because you could just as easily run the mini DSP as a preamp, if I'm not mistaken, use your cord in the mono and maybe just get a speaker switcher for your left and right mains. And then just switch that way too would potentially be another solution or way to look at it. But yeah, premium AVR, Marantz Cinema 30, that kind of level, putting whatever preamp outputs you use into the preamp only mode would basically make it a switcher and a volume control. Something to think about. Clem, that is not my hat on the wall. That is Kristi's hat on the wall. Oh, she answered you. Haha. That's my bad. What do you guys know about the upcoming power node that has an output for a center channel? Nothing.
Not a damn thing.
We know nothing. NAD, Glenbrook on a whole does not speak to us. And that is probably my fault because I won't agree to sitting through their press presentations to get put on a list to review their products. Like, I don't think that that's fair journalistically to make someone sit through a marketing presentation in order to be, in order to curry favor enough to get put on a list so they don't talk to us anymore. Because I've made it known to them, like, I'm not doing that. I think that's nonsense. And maybe that makes me a bad person. I don't know.
It doesn't make you a bad person. They never did that before.
They never did it before. They have some new, what do they call it? SOP, standard operating procedures, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, this came from the very top.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate because historically, I mean, when I was starting out, some of my very first true HiFi components were NAD pieces. Like, I love the brand. I would love to talk about them more when appropriate, but they really, as my baby says, they are in the prevention department.
Sales prevention?
Sales prevention. Not that we're looking for sales. They're in the review prevention department. So, is it worth it to build your own speakers and subs? I have no idea. I've never done it. Never done it. And nothing against people that are handy. I have no desire to even try it. I've never had a desire to try it. I'm not a tinkerer in that way. I don't mind doing drywall. I don't mind doing plaster or paint. But I've never looked at a speaker and been like, I think I can build one better. I don't know. Maybe I'm weird.
I think personally, the only way this building your own speaker or sub is going to be worth it to you is if you have very little expectations, or you are okay if at the end of the day when you're finished it doesn't sound good or it doesn't work.
Yeah, it's possible.
You have to be okay with that unless you are like, an engineer or something.
Or you could be buying a kit, in which
I don't
case you're not designing or building your own speaker, you're assembling someone else's speaker. And that's a different thing. But even then, I'm not saying this to be an a-hole, but like, my time to me is the single most valuable thing that I have. And if it's not of an interest to me, I would rather patronize a business or a brand and buy someone's passion, which is their speaker design, and get the enjoyment they want me to have out of it and save my time, if that makes sense. Okay. Bodie, what's your general thoughts on tube gear? I have to admit that I'm biased against them, though I have no experience with them and I don't know why. Look, tube gear is fun. It's romantic. It went from being kind of the only game in town to now kind of like a lot of things attached to nostalgia. Like there are people that are going to swear up, down, left, and right that it's better. And there's going to be examples where that's true, and there's going to be examples where that's not true. As far as tube gear, I honestly don't have an opinion on it, good or bad. When done right, I love it. And when done right, I often think that you can't tell that it's, quote, tube gear. But then there's instances where you're like, yeah, I remember, what was it, Conrad Johnson CA50 integrated amplifier? Boy, you couldn't mistake that for anything but a tube amp. And you could play CDs through that, you could play vinyl through that, and everything sounded thick and like it was being pumped through water. And it was super 70s, you know? It was just, it sounded so something, it was its own thing. Would I like that today? Probably not. Probably not. But that isn't to say that the pendulum for me swings all the way the other way, where it's like these kind of amp of the month chip amps where, you know, 0.000000001% THD or Synat or whatever the hell. I don't like that either. Those amps sound really wonky to me. So I'm somewhere in the middle. I don't know why you would be biased against it if you don't have the experience. That would be the bigger thing to maybe try and not do in general. But yeah, I think there's a place for it. And if it speaks to you, great. Does tubes automatically make something better or more hi-fi? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Dwayne, many prayers for you too with everything going on. Any time for viewing? Watching Chief of War, Night Always Comes, How's Foundation going, Kristi? Accountant 2, did you see Warfare? Accountant 2 was awful. I watched that. We watched Warfare. You know, Warfare was an experience. It's like a little bit more of a visceral experience, not real heavy.
Was that the where they just kind of followed that one?
Yeah, you're just in a battle.
Team?
Yeah.
That was I liked that one a lot.
That was a great experience. We saw, I got Superman. Ooh.
Hated it.
It wasn't great.
But you know what? I just can't really do these kinds of movies anymore. Like the Marvel, the superhero stuff. Like, I'm over it. It's so boring to me. It's boring. It's cheesy. It's just, ugh. Mm-hmm. I'd rather watch paint dry. So, nope to Superman. Foundation, Dwayne, I have not picked that up yet. I feel like I probably should watch the first season again before I start season 2, because it's just been so long, and it was kind of a complicated show in a way. And I want Andrew to watch it with me, and I don't think he's really excited for it. So that's also, been part of my delay, but it's on my list. Chief of War, I think that's
the Jason Momoa show. Yeah.
I can't.
He kind of plays the same thing.
The same guy, same character. I loved him in
Game of Thrones.
Yeah. That was fun. That was a really interesting, cool character for him. But it's just the thumbnail. It looks all the same. He's got Chief of War, and then there's the other one that we saw.
Well, I thought Chief of War was season 2 of C, which he plays another warrior kind of character on an Apple TV show.
So, I'm going to skip it.
Yeah.
We have been watching Alien Earth.
Fantastic.
Whoa. Holy crap. That show is fantastic. Man.
That one's good.
It's a gripping show. The pilot episode.
Oh, all 3 of them have been really solid.
They have been, but the first one, gripping.
Yeah, very good.
So good. Has there been anything else?
We got into Platonic season 2. We watched season 3 pilot, or season 3 episode 1 of Invasion last night while we were doing dinner. And those are the shows.
Oh, we finished Gilded Age, season 3.
Yes.
And even Andrew got into it, which I loved. It's not anything. It's just one of those shows. But that one was fun. Mm-hmm. I think it's very interesting to see, like that time period of American history, and being able to see African Americans portrayed in a non-slave type of way.
Yeah.
I love that. I love to see some of the characters that they brought onto that show, and they're some of them are wealthy, they're educated, they're smart. I'm not saying that these people didn't exist, but I don't think that that's a viewpoint
You don't get it very often.
many movies or shows have explored, and so I've enjoyed that, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Someone said stumble into Dexter, in case you missed it. I never watched Dexter, like the original Dexter. I never watched that show, but we did. Andrew and I tried to
Watch the prequel? Yeah. Or like Dexter coming up, like Dexter as a kid or something. That was on is it Paramount Plus or whatever? Like where you see Dexter like in his 20s or late teens.
Horrible.
Oh, it was awful.
Horrible.
It's awful.
Couldn't make it through one episode. The writing, the pacing, the casting, the acting was just god awful.
Dexter in the 80s. It was terrible.
So bad. And people are still watching it, and I'm like, why?
Oh yeah, no, that streaming service is all Dexter all the time now.
Wild the Innocent asks, so is it vampires, zombies, or superheroes, in what order? I will take vampires over all of it any day. And I don't know if anybody out here listening, watching right now, was a Buffy the Vampire Slayer fan. The TV show with Sarah Michelle Gellar. It's coming back. They're going to revive it. They're filming now. I'm so excited. Really hope they don't mess it up. But it should be interesting.
As far as me in what order, I don't know. I'll watch anything. I really will. You just have to be prepared for me to dissect it. Like, I see a lot of people who are like, Superman was great. Look, the bar for Superman was so low. It was so low that as long as it was shot in color and had halfway likable characters who occasionally smiled, as opposed to everything being dark and morose and, Superman wasn't emo, then it was going to be seen as a revelation. But if you take a step back and watch Superman, was it more faithful to kind of the 50s, 60s era or even earlier era Superman? Yes, 100%. But it still had structural problems. And it still had some theme issues. And it still had some pacing and tonality problems that for me was like, I'm just like, it's so close. It was so close. One of the things I loved about it was that it just started. It just did its thing. The movie just kicked off. We didn't have to have the whole damn origin story again. We didn't have to go, it was just, we knew who Superman was. Let's get on with it. That I loved. But other than that, if someone were to say, it's like the best comic book movie that's been made in however many years, I think it's a solid, I think it was a solid B minus. It was not an A plus for me. And I'm glad that we saw it at home versus in a theater, because I will admit some of the experiences of watching it here in our current setup was very impressive. And I don't think I would have gotten that in a theater. I think it would have been just shouty. So, yeah.
Has there been anything else we've been? Oh, I started watching Ripley again.
Yes.
The Talented Mr. Ripley TV series.
Series on Netflix, yes.
It came out like a year or so ago. It's filmed in black and white. It's, oh man, visually, I just kind of drool when I watch it. Like the lighting and the film noir aspect of it. It's just, love it. And the characters so far have been pretty good. So I'm looking forward to finishing that series. We started it when it came out, and I think we watched like one episode or two, and then just stopped for some reason. So I'm going to go back to that.
We're going to wrap things up here, but this was a question that I wanted to get to. How do you manage to hide your wires in your speaker and soundbar reviews? It always seems like nothing is there. Most of our wires are in our walls. We ran them in our walls and we hide them. We also, I know he's not watching live, but we have gotten quite close with one of our members, Vadim, and he is a pretty skilled guy. And he actually made me some custom interconnects and speaker cables out of the kindness of his heart. That were color matched to our walls and our floor. So there are cables there, but they're very hard to see. So I'm a stickler for wire management. I hate rat's nests and messy wires. So one of the things that we did even early on was figure out how to run the essentials in the wall and behind the floorboards. And now we've run even more things in the walls and behind the floorboards because I can't stand wires. I can't stand them.
Oh my gosh. Every time we love to watch real estate and architecture YouTube.
Yeah.
And we'll watch a show on like some multi-million-dollar home for sale. And they're the cameraman is going through the home and the living room and stuff, and there's cables hanging everywhere. We're talking like 10, 20, 30 million dollar houses, and we both just shout out cable management.
Oh yeah, I'm like Leo. Oh. I'm like Leonardo DiCaprio in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. When we're watching that stuff, I'll be on the couch going, "Fix that." Oh, we were watching one the other day too. This is like, I think it might have been yesterday. It was just on in the background. And it was an interior designer's channel. And she was walking through like, this is what me and the girls did. And there was this console table in an entryway. And it's a big console table. And knowing lead times on furniture, like this was planned. And they're sitting there talking about how they were involved from the time that the house was being like on paper. Hadn't even, not one stick of wood had gone up in framing. And this console, they knew it was going there and da-da-da-da-da-da. Okay, you knew all of that. You helped design this house as designers. Why did you put a lamp on the farthest end on the console table from the outlet you quote plan to be there? So you have this beautiful vignette entryway, and then you just have this hammock of a cable from a lamp that easily was 8 feet stretch of just power cord. I clicked off the video. I'm sorry. That's how like neurotic and shallow of a human being I am when it comes to that stuff. Because it's like, you can't tell me, I'm walking through a house that took 5, 6, 7 years to build, spared no expense. You were involved from the drawings. You purposely had all of this furniture made custom for this house. And you have an 8-foot run of exposed power cable. And you couldn't even custom wire the lamp to go down and then run along like the baseboards or hide it behind the baseboards and come up. No. We're just letting it slack jaw. It was unforgivable. So anyway, that's some of the stuff that gets to me. So Tommy writes, plans to revisit the Ambio Max, considering either the Ambio or the Marantz M1 with Q acoustic speakers or other brand. I have no intentions of revisiting the Ambio Max. No. Marantz M1 with Q acoustics with virtualization is amazing for watching movies and television. And it gives you the flexibility of having separate speakers and proper stereo imaging if that's important to you. So yeah, I can't say which one is going to be best for you. They're both great options, but I have no plans to revisit the Ambio line at this point. Love Tech Lynn. Are you one of the people that I read and chat with through DM on Instagram? Thank you, Kef needed to see your review. My Zio is good. It's not perfect. No ATV issues. Music is amazing. Tweaking for movies. F1 sounds great. Presets need work. When kinks worked out, I hope you revisit it.
They said yes.
Yes. Okay. Yes, and I appreciate all the feedback that you were giving me throughout my evaluation on the Zio. Yeah, I wish nothing but the best for Kef. I really do. I never want to make a review like that. It needed to be made, especially knowing that we contacted them, we were in touch with them, they sent us a second unit. The second unit had the same problems with the exception of notably less resonance at more frequencies. There were still resonance at certain frequencies, but the first bar was worse than the second one. But as far as the profiles and everything, those all measured exactly the same, bar to bar. But yeah, I hope that the firmware update that they told us in their official statement that they were now working on to, fix many of the things that we had pointed out. I hope that comes to fruition. And I hope that it makes everyone's experience better. I know that they're also, I don't think I shared this in the review, but they also are going to be tweaking the app a little bit to address some of my other things that I didn't really harp on them in the review, but Kef got a multi-page document from me where it's like, hey, on the record, these are my questions. What did you think about this? Did you do anything with this? And there were quite a few things that they admitted to saying that they were going to look at and address that should make the user experience better. Will I revisit the bar? Probably not. I just don't really necessarily have that time to always go back and like check the manufacturer's work. That's something that they should be doing. And they shouldn't need people like me to come in and be like, hey, did we do a good job now? I would have hoped that they had done a good job at launch, but I do wish them absolutely nothing but the best. And I hope that they fix what I didn't like about it and everyone's experience is better.
But this kind of stuff happens.
It happens all the time.
All the time.
Hell, I was about to crack open a box today to start putting a new product through its paces and I got contacted by the brand's representative, and it turns out that I was sent a pre-production model and they don't want me cracking it open and they're sending me a production model.
Because somebody else that got sent one.
Yeah, two of them went out and
found a problem and that problem needs to be corrected and.
Yeah. So, yeah.
At least you didn't waste any time.
At least I didn't waste any time. So, So yeah, I thank you so much, Techlin, for everything, I think that is it for me today, guys. We've been at this for 2.5 hours. It's the way it goes. We just get to talking. So yeah.
I just want to say really quickly to everyone who sent messages in the chat box about the things that we've been going through, that I've been going through personally. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah.
It really means a lot to me to know, just to even see that other people have been dealing with similar, or have dealt with similar situations. Being able to relate on that level with you is helpful, and so it means a lot to me, and I wanted to say thank you before we sign off.
Yeah. And I think if you take anything away from those things besides just realizing that we're all human and we're all going through it, so try and be mindful of that whenever addressing anybody, but take care of your health. Take care of your health, seriously. Take that walk today. Go on a walk, it'll help, but take care of yourself, stay mobile, and it will be, you'll be better off in the long run, for sure. That is it for us today. So tune in Sunday. We have a brand new video for you on Sunday. I will admit, I went into Sunday's video not expecting to come out a fan. And you'll understand when you see it. This one over here, big fan of what's coming on Sunday. Big fan. She fell in love with Sunday's product in a big way. So be sure to tune in for that. And then hopefully, it really will depend how far I get today and tomorrow with the room here. Hopefully, the big reveal is soon, very soon.
I know people have been asking about the Bayo Lab 50s.
Yes.
And when is that review coming? It is coming.
Yes.
We're not trying to stall you guys
No.
on it. But to be honest, we've kind of been enjoying them. Like really living with them and just having that experience, which doesn't always happen. That you get to just sit with something for a while, but because of all the different work that we've had done around the house, it's allowed us to have those set up more longer than other things.
Well, and not to spoil it either, some of the things that we tore into the house for was also to take advantage of some of their other features that we now were able to test. So yeah, it's coming. It's coming. Sorry. Did I interrupt you?
No.
Oh, it's coming. It's coming. I really want to make sure that not only is it, worthy of all of the work and effort that has already been put into them, but also from a viewing standpoint, like you get a clear picture of where kind of all of these pieces fit, because it's been a really eye-opening journey. And then also the room needs to be in a shape that it's not that I'm embarrassed. I'm never embarrassed to show you my space, but like I don't have baseboards. I don't have baseboards on the wall, on the ground yet. And I know that if I bring you a BioLab 50 review and there aren't baseboards, that's all I'm going to hear about is, did Andrew forget the baseboards? And it's like,
and part of this is my fault because I was like, you can't
go forward until you have baseboards.
Go forward until you put baseboards on the wall. We have a whole coffee table. We have this coffee table that Andrew loves. He's wanted it for years.
Yep.
It's like a very classic design.
Yeah.
And it's got a glass top. And we used it in several videos when we first bought it, but people revolted and were just, why you can't possibly know what you're listening to with that reflective surface.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, we got to get rid of it. We still have it.
We still have it.
We didn't like get rid of it.
We moved it to a different room.
It's just sitting over here behind us, taking up space and collecting dust because I can't handle the dumbness that we're going to see in the comments because they have such opinions
Yeah.
about the things we put in our room.
So
And it's just like, I can't. We gotta protect our sanity. So this really nice coffee table, it holds things. It's very good at holding things.
but the 50 review is coming. I couldn't have put it out before the wiring work, and then of course because of all the wiring work, I needed to patch up the holes in the walls, and I'm almost done. I'm almost done with the living room, and when I'm done, then I will turn the camera around and you will get the 50 review. So probably not in 2 weeks, but no longer than a month.
Oh my gosh, Dragonstone. People actually told us to cover the coffee table,
Oh yeah.
that we needed to cover it with a rug or something. And it's like, do you people really live like this? Like, honestly.
Uh-oh, she's going on.
Do
she's
you
going
live?
on a rant.
Do you live? Is this how you live? And listen to things. Like, I don't know. I don't believe that it affects the sound in the way that some people suggest it does. I really don't.
As someone who has done that experiment for themselves, do I notice a difference in a measurement when a coffee table's in the room versus when I pull it out? Yeah, the graphs aren't 100%. They don't 100% line up. But is it audible? I don't think I could definitively say that it is. And I know by saying that, there will be a million people. Once we go off live and comments, people watch this 2 days from now, there'll be a whole react video where it's like, Andrew can't hear the difference of a coffee table with the... Maybe I can, maybe I can't, or maybe I just don't care. Maybe I just like having a coffee table because I can put my whiskey on it or my feet, you know.
Or we sit there to eat our dinner.
Yeah.
Which I know it makes Andrew's hair stand on his arm, up on his arms. But some of the things that people will come in with,
Yeah.
and look, this is not meant to shade anybody, but I've seen your photos. I've seen the systems that you have in your home, and it's not perfect. You're not living in a padded cell.
Yeah,
so
no one is.
Stop acting as if everyone needs to be doing that in order for something to sound right or to be, to adequately talk about something. Like, can we move past it?
Chris, shag rugs on all the walls. When I was coming up, college, HiFi Andrew, I would chase every tweak dragon I could. I'm not ashamed. I've copped to this. I've made my own cable risers out of chopsticks. I've purchased cable risers. I've hung rugs on my wall. I've had every absorption, bass trap, you name it. Coffee table. I even had blankets. I would throw moving blankets over my television when I really wanted to listen to stereo, because the TV was too reflective. I was sure of it. Near field, non-near field. I have done them all.
And, Andrew doesn't even know this, but I've actually been looking up tapestries to put on the wall because we took down our fabric panels, which had, what do you call it? Treatment.
Had batting and stuff in it.
And I just know that whenever we do reveal the room and they don't see that, it's just going to be like 2020 all over again, where you can't possibly, know what you're talking about. And it makes my my head spin. And then when I open my computer, I'm like, well, maybe if we just have a tapestry on the wall, people will shut up and they won't say anything. And then I'm like, what's wrong with you, Kristi? Who is this person you've become, where you are bending to the masses? They're not even the masses. They're like 10 people, but those voices are always the loudest. And I'm like, you got to stop. You got to stop worrying about the audio files and their obsession with, specs and
Oh, per Anderson here.
stuff.
Per
Does
Anderson.
anyone get what I'm saying?
They do. Per Anderson, this is a deep cut. Painted my CDs with green special paint. So did I. So did I. And I even had contact paste that and I would paint the RCA plugs and the RCA inputs to make that true connection. Oh yeah. No, I've done it all. I've had maple blocks suspended on cork that was floating on racquetballs so that it was completely, oh yeah, no. Did it matter? No, it didn't. It didn't.
I just want to be able to live in my house, and when we go to buy furniture or things, whatever it might be, to live and to be amongst, our living space. Like, I want to be able to do that without thinking or worrying, will the audience approve of this? And are they going to be okay with it? And I know that that's just a part of having a channel, but these are the things that I think about, and things I never thought I would think about or worry about. But I don't want to get yelled at, and maybe that's says something about me and my childhood, probably. But
Oh yeah. I used to hang my speaker cables.
comments, guys.
Yeah. That's the funny thing. That's the funny thing. That is the thing I get a kick out of probably the most, the longer I've been in this business. And I know that some of you, we've been on YouTube for, I think we're going on our 5th year. And that's a long time. Not as long as some, but that's a long time. But I've been doing this professionally since 2000. This is my 25th year in the business. And one of the things that I get the biggest kick out of is that, admittedly, a lot of people's experience of me or their thoughts about me are entirely based on YouTube. And that's fine, and I accept that. I'm not poo-pooing that at all. But it is entirely based on YouTube, and it's entirely based on the breadth of work of 5 years and however many, 400 videos, however many we've made. So people don't know the 20 years before that, where I had to write about power conditioners and remotes and cables and everything under the sun because I worked in print. When I say that, when people are like, I don't care about the recovering audiophile moniker anymore. That was
my fault.
That was Kristi's fault.
I looked at it from a marketing standpoint.
Yeah. Like I'm.
And I was like, he said that at one point.
Yeah, I made a video. I said it, and she's like, "That should be your handle." And
that's such a great name.
And it stuck.
And he listened to me.
Yeah, and it just stuck, and that's fine. But what's funny is I do mean it when I say I'm a recovering audiophile, because I'm serious. As much guff as I know I get online from people that probably don't like me all that much, some of the things that they say I don't know, or I haven't experienced, or I don't have the experience, I actually do. And I'm not saying that like that makes me better. It's just when I say I've done the green paint, I've had the contact paste, I used monofilament at one point to hang my cables from the ceiling. So not only were cable risers not good enough for me, I needed them suspended so that there wasn't any rug, carpet, earth magnetism. I've done it all.
Earth magnetism?
Don't get me started. Yes.
You were single as AF, weren't you?
I actually wasn't single, but I was in a situation where we needed to live in separate dwellings. Whatever, that's a whole other thing. So yeah, like I've done it. I've done it all. I've had dedicated rooms, non-dedicated rooms, you name it. And it's like, what I hope to bring to you guys is just not only the breadth of my experience, it's just the fact that I hope when you tune in and I sit there and I say, hey, I don't think a coffee table really matters, or I don't think this, or go with what makes you happy. The only thing that's going to pay the most dividends in this hobby is what makes you happy. Because I have bought it all, I have played with it all, and I have tried every tweak. I've taken everyone's advice but my own. And if 2025 is a shit year, and it is for a lot of reasons, if there's one thing I take from this year, and it might be the only thing I get to take from this year, is this year I listened to myself. I listened to myself, and I built the things, and that's what the title of this video was, building the dream. I'm doing the things that I want to do. And I'm grateful that so many of you have wanted to continue to go on the journey, because we've obviously been making less videos. We've obviously been covering different topics and doing less of what we used to do. But I hope, if nothing else, your takeaway isn't always gear. It's just, no, do the thing that makes you happy. Buy the thing that makes you happy. You don't get to take any of this stuff with you. So as long as it's not wrecking you or your family, like, do the thing that makes you happy. So. And
the only other thing I want to add to this conversation is, regardless of what ultimately we do at this room and whether there's treatment visible or not visible, and I'm talking about like the treatment that audiophiles consider to be treatment, like, just know that the one thing that will not change is that Andrew is going to test the living crap out of every single product that comes through this door, just like he always has. This man works so hard and cares so much about making sure that you have as much information as you can to make your own decision. Because at the end of the day, no one else can make that decision for you but you. And whether or not he or some other reviewer says this is great, or I love it, or it's the best thing since sliced bread, at the end of the day, you have to be responsible for your own decisions. And the only way you're going to know whether you like something is by experiencing it. So just keep that in mind and know that nothing about the way we do things is going to change. I mean, heck, we just had a conversation with a major TV manufacturer yesterday. And the conversation was, well, I'm just going to throw this out there. Like, how do you do things? Do you expect to be sponsored, paid?
Basically, what's your rate?
What's your rate? And I mean, we've had this conversation with the same conversation over and over and over, which is, if you want us to review something, it doesn't cost you anything other than shipping and, to get here and to get picked up. And this person made it quite clear that we're a rarity, we're an anomaly in the industry. And whether that's smaller channels in us or huge, huge channels, many people will not speak to a brand unless they're financially going to be compensated. And we've never done that, ever. And so I'm telling you this so that you know that we're not bought and paid for. We do this because Andrew loves this job. He loves this hobby. And he wants to give you his time and the education he's learned along the way, and try to give you as much education or information as possible. And at the end of the day, that's all we can do. But I hope that when you see the room and maybe it doesn't look like a lab or like a studio or something, that you don't think, I hope you still feel like you can trust the information that gets presented to you.
Well said.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Huh. All right, guys.
I mean, it's hard. It's hard because, you know, there are pressures and
There are, and you know, it becomes a hard job physically too, the older that I get, you know. Like I used to say yes to everything, you know, when I was 25 and 25, 26 years old, and someone's like, "Hey, will you do a 300-pound, you know, you want a 300-pound monoblock?" And be like, "Yeah, I'll figure out how to get it home or up the stairs to my apartment." You know, where now it's like, hey, do you want to do blah, blah, blah? And it's just like, someone needs to come pick up the other two things we're waiting on first, because I'm tired of being a storage locker. You know, it gets to be like yesterday I was moving TVs that are scheduled for pickup, but haven't been picked up yet because they have to be picked up by trucking companies and whatnot. So there's logistics involved. But I was moving, you know, 98-inch TVs by myself in 105-degree heat, you know, getting them from one spot to another and getting them loaded and ready for the logistic companies to come in and pick them up. And it's like that's labor, you know. Don't play a violin for me, but like I definitely feel it more in the last couple of years than I would have maybe 5 years ago. And so I'm starting to look at things and it's like, okay, I want to be the guy that can bring you these topics, but holy crap, you know, like, thank God, you know, Wilson audio speakers are installed by dealers, because those suckers were heavy.
yeah,
And we had the floor slides on them, and damn.
yeah,
These
they're tricky to move.
BioLab 50s, I have had to invent a method for moving them by myself that doesn't involve me having to, you know, spend 30 minutes walking them 6 inches. I mean, these are 2-some 100-pound speakers, or whatever they are. So anyway, I'm getting off topic and I'm rambling again.
Well, Vadim said when a company pays for a review, it's no longer a review. It's a products showcase. And I do agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as the person doing the video makes that clear, I don't see anything wrong with it. The reality is running a YouTube channel is a business.
Mm-hmm.
And it's expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't have any problem with reviewers, YouTubers, getting paid for the work that they do, because honestly, the path we've chosen, which is using affiliate links and
AdSense revenue.
ads, you know, like when you watch an ad on YouTube and we get a little share of that, or doing these lives, and you know, the people that will super chat us, like that's our income. Mm-hmm. That's it. And Andrew made that decision early on because he felt his integrity was more important than anything else. And other people have made different decisions, and I completely understand why they've done that, because AdSense doesn't really pay that much. It's like it definitely doesn't pay as much as it used to when we first started. Affiliate sales have gone way down because the economy is struggling, people are struggling. A lot of people rent stuff, and so I do not harbor any ill will or any bad feelings towards people that are like the ones, like the manufacturer we spoke to on the phone, and like they're not even having a conversation with a brand unless it involves some form of payment. Because if you're going to do this and take this job seriously, you kind of have to. because it's really difficult to earn a living unless you do that. So I hope people watching understand that and gives the people that do this for a job a little bit of grace, and try not to be so skeptical about their intentions. Now, I'm not saying that you don't have any reason not to be, because there are plenty of people that never say a word about the money that they, are taking up front. And I do take issue with that, because it just makes the whole space of what we do more challenging, and it causes distrust amongst the audience. And I do hate to see that, but there are just realities that some people that watch this content for free, because you are watching for free, that just don't realize or understand. So hopefully, when we're able to do these types of conversations live, you have an opportunity to get a little bit more insight of how things work, and that not everyone is out to take advantage of you.
Yeah.
What?
I didn't say anything. That's a mic drop right there. I can't drop this mic. I don't want to drop this mic. I love this mic. But yeah, you kind of said all the things. So, all right, guys, that's an almost 3-hour live stream. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I can see that there's still several hundred of you still with us. So thank you. Really appreciate it. I hope you all have a great rest of your Friday. Remember, again, Sunday, new video, and then keep it tuned in to the comments and the community page and Instagram for updates on where we're going to go from Sunday. Other than that, please, please, please have a great rest of your day. Do something for yourself that makes you happy, and we'll see you guys on Sunday with a brand new video. All right?
And thanks for hanging out with us.
Thank you so much. Bye.